Not to fall into a pit of self-pity here, but sometimes being single is really hard. Like sometimes you'll have days where you just feel really lonely, maybe a little bit isolated and just like on your own. Like sometimes when I try and do something difficult, I'm like, oh, I really wish I had a person to help me with this. And then it can make me feel like, oh, sucks. This is really hard. And sometimes it also feels a bit like, well, what am I here for? Especially if, you know, you're very much of the heart and mind that you're like, I feel called to family life, like I'm ready to be a wife, a mother, a husband, a father. And it's hard to really like know your purpose in that state in life because you're like, well, I don't feel like I'm there yet. But the thing is that like God doesn't want you to wait. Like he does so much in the waiting, right? So I really want to talk about how we can maximize this time and to live it with joy and to also live it with purpose. Because truly, like we will never have this time again. And I know that if every single one of you knew exactly when you were going to meet your person and when you were going to settle down, you would be able to enjoy this time so much better. But unfortunately, that's not how life works. And you don't want it to be at this point when you look back and you think, oh, I really like didn't maximize. I didn't like optimize and squeeze the very best out of this time that I had in my single season. So as a caveat, I will say that it's really easy when you're single to just lean everything into work. And I don't want any of us to be enslaved to work because you do need to have that healthy work-life balance. And I've done it. I've done it where like I have been working, obviously my 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, but then I find myself on the weekend also doing more work because I'm like, well, I've got this time and I've got this energy and I want to nurture something and that might as well be my career. And not that being a responsible worker is a bad thing, of course, but you shouldn't pour everything into it because you're just going to burn out and get exhausted. Instead, you really want to, you know, feel and sit with those feelings. So if it's like, I really have this like big heart and big love to give and I don't know where to, you know, channel it, where to put it, you know, you could volunteer. Like there are so many incredible causes out there, whether you, you know, you feel the call to help older people or to help disadvantaged children or the disabled or animals. There's just like a cause for everyone's heart and there's like so much need as well for us out there. And I mean, you never know, that could also be how you meet your person, but regardless of that, it's just a really good way to spend your time, your energy, and to get you out of your own head and to get you out of feeling kind of just like stuck. Because I recently said to one of my friends today, I said, you know, I just feel like my life of late has been a lot of external stagnancy. And he was like, what do you mean? And what I meant by that is like on the inside, I feel like I've had so much self-improvement, so much growth and so much learning. But from the outside, no one can really see that unless maybe they can see the joy exuding from me, which I hope they can. But you know, there's nothing to really say that. I can't write a status about that or an Instagram post about that, or I can't reply when my friends say, what's new with, well, I've just like had this like huge self-development and self-knowledge. Although those things are absolutely huge, there's just not really like ways to articulate them. So yeah, I just feel like externally my life has looked quite stagnant and it can throw me into pressure of wanting to do something quite drastic, such as, you know, cut all my hair off or like move house, move country, get another pet. I already have a cat and a dog, so I really shouldn't get another pet. And, you know, just something where you feel like you're forcing change and you're forcing momentum and movement into your life, but it's not about that. So really the way that you can help to channel that frustration and that kind of block that you're feeling is to bring more things into your life that really work for you. So volunteering according to your schedule and according to your capacity and your resource. And of course, this is a beautiful time to really pour into your family of origin, your parents, your siblings, any niece or nephews that you have. This is really a time where you can be so pivotal into their life and just be a real gift to them. And something I did recently was look after my friend's baby every Monday for a few weeks, and it was just so lovely. And to be able to say to her, don't worry, I've got this, was just such a good feeling and actually just was lovely and was also like great practice for, God willing, one day if I have my own children. And it was just really, I couldn't be in my head in those moments. I was just like, okay, I've got to get her 2 older ones to school, and I've got to get this baby fed and changed and happy. And it was really beautiful. And also, you know, just being able to really give undivided attention to my niece and my nephew, to my family of origin, has been really beautiful, because I think if you are in a relationship, that always, you know, your attention's always split a little bit. So to have that time is something I'm going to absolutely always cherish, and I hope I never forget like how formative this time has been. And you know, hopefully won't be for too long, but it has been a real gift to be able to lean into my family more, and to you know, grow and develop those relationships in ways I wouldn't have been able to do if I was distracted by a relationship or, you know, with a significant other. I will say something that has really been very life-giving for me lately is to make friends, or to really cultivate those friendships with people who are in the same state of life as me. So something that can be difficult, and I'm trying to be better at it, but I do find that I've drifted away from some of my friends who are married or who have children, maybe just, you know, by no fault of mine and no fault of theirs, kind of like a mutual drifting away, because we're at just such different stages of our lives. And although there are some people who will just like always be in my life, no matter like how different that looks, it has been hard, and I think it's been really nice for me to lean into some new and some older friendships with people who are going through the same thing as me. And sometimes, you know, it's refreshing to just say to them, I'm actually really lonely, or like I'm feeling kind of isolated, or I'm just feeling really panicky. And, you know, having these people who understand what you're going through is incredibly helpful. Because I remember one of my friends, and she didn't mean anything by it, she's like married, mother of many children, and she was like, oh, just don't worry about it, it will happen when it happens. And I'm like, oh, I don't think she understands that feeling when you're kind of like, I feel like I have to really carry the burden of everything on my own, and I feel like it's always going to be this way, and I feel worried, like, you know, I have these intrusive thoughts of what about when I'm older, like who's going to look after me, and all these kind of things. And, you know, obviously I shouldn't go from like 0 to 100, but there is something refreshing in someone who can say to you, like, I get it, I feel the same sometimes, and, you know, I do X, Y, and Z to get my head and my heart out of that place. And that's really just incredibly useful, and I think everyone needs that. Also with those friends, you can be very like, hey, should we put ourselves out there? Like, should we go out? Should we dress up and go out or something? And I think that you can encourage each other, because sometimes it's really easy. I am always just like, do I have to go out? So I think it's good to have some people who will cheerlead you. And then apparently we are becoming lifelong learners, because in terms of our careers, we're having more careers than ever. We are changing industries, changing jobs. And that's because like we are the generation that has all the information that we need, and we are able to be these lifelong learners. So while we have the time, like, let's learn. Like, something I want to do is learn how to edit photography. I got this camera here which I'm using, and I want to use it for photography as well. And even just understanding like how you will not appreciate how long it took me to edit my first or second video. Like, I was just like, wait, how do I, what? And when I say edit, all I know how to do is kind of like splice things together and then like upload it. But that took me so long to learn, but it's so satisfying. So, you know, lean into that, lean into like a new hobby or something that you've wanted to be able to acquire as a skill. And you'll find that it really enlivens you, actually. And even better if you're doing it within community. And because sometimes I know, like, I'll be watching a YouTube video, tutorial or something, and I think, oh, like, I'm just here. Like, it's kind of a strange concept because I love podcasts and listening to voices, but I'm still physically on my own. So I think that obviously if you can do it in community, go to classes, that's really great. And you'll build other networks as well through these new interests. So there's something really beautiful about having this time to lean into interests. And also, you know, if you're able to travel and to see new things and go to new places, that's also a gift. That's also a gift this time that we have right now, to be able to do that. Obviously, if you're like me and you went straight into that like pet life, you do have some dependents now. So I've got a dog and a cat, as I mentioned, and you know, I can't just spontaneously be like, hey, I'm gonna go to Rome tomorrow. But I'm trying to really build out that support network so that I'm able to be a little bit more flexible and go out more. And also I just love a dog-friendly place, so that's always great. But yeah, I don't travel as much as I used to. But on the flip side of that, like I have made so many friends through my dog, like because it's incredible how much of an icebreaker a dog is. You know, I would never really have known my neighbors before I had a dog. Like now everyone knows her name. They don't really necessarily know my name, but I just feel protected by the fact that everyone in my community knows who I am and is just aware of me, and it's just amazing the conversations that you can have when someone's like, oh my gosh, your dog, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly it's just like you're learning about their life history. And it's just such a good icebreaker and a good way to connect with humans, even though the entrance point, the gateway is the dog. Next up is like start that side business that you've always wanted to do. I've wanted to start a YouTube channel for like probably years, but I just never had the confidence. I was like, no one's gonna care. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to record it. I don't have a camera. I don't know how to edit. And it's like been so empowering for me and so life-giving that I've actually just done it. Even though, you know, right now it's very humble beginnings, but there's just something very good about it that like I have made this kind of promise to you that I will have a video out every Thursday, and that's been really good to keep to and to kind of commit myself to. So I think, you know, if you're thinking about starting a side business, or you've always wanted to write a book, or you've always wanted to learn videography, or I'm trying to think of something other than kind of the media thing, now is your time that you're able to do that. Like just try it, just give it a go. And you know, even if it only lasts 6 months, a year, you'll still have learned so many new skills and so much about yourself. And also it just gives you that sense of direction and that, you know, something to do and something to kind of have in your structured routine. That gives you a sense of purpose and a sense of mission, especially if you feel that what you want to do as your side hustle or your business, or, you know, this entrepreneurial kind of idea is part of your personal vision and mission. You know, for me, something that I think is really important is ending loneliness. I don't want people to be lonely, whether you are older or a young adult or midlife. Like, I really think that we need to build up community again, and we need to really be there for each other and be honest and tell stories that make people realize they're not alone. And that's something that I really feel has been put on my heart. So any kind of side hustle that I can do that leans into that mission, it just fills me with so much purpose and so much fulfillment. And, you know, find groups to join, whether that's based on your hobby, your faith, your community. Like, I went to this local business networking event, and it was so good actually just to meet like, oh, these people all like live literally like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 streets away from me, and they all do such different industries and such different careers. And it was a great way to meet people and to just see like all the creativity that humans do, like from meeting this old lady plumber, which was amazing, to like a local estate agent who's completely independent, and an accountant who just like operates 2 roads down from me. Like, these things are really good reminder that we live within community. We feel disconnected right now because we're so digital and we're so kind of online, and we have exposure to everyone around the world, but we still live in communities. We still live in the, you know, the village, the town, the cities that we live in. And we really need to lean into that more. So like find local groups. Like I just found a local supper club that's happening like 6 roads down from me. And I'm like, why don't I go to it? Because, you know, that's probably going to be local people. It's just such a good way to get involved and to not feel alone or isolated. And finally, you know, just be ready to narrate your own story. I do believe that like God obviously is the author of our lives, but we are the narrator, and we have like a way about that. You know, we can narrate our story in a really depressing and like sad and lonely way, or we can do it in a joyful and exciting way. And you know, I talked about leaning into like my romantic girl era, and it's true, like I can do that even if I'm not in a relationship. I can like wear an amazing dress, and I can buy like the most beautiful and decadent pastry out there, and you know, and I can choose to go to like one of the most beautiful landscape gardens in the city and eat that pain au chocolat and look fantastic and just have this moment of romance like in a completely controlled environment. So I do think, you know, we are the narrators of our own story, and we're able to choose what vibe we want that to be on. So, you know, it's not always easy to be like joyful and exciting and hopeful. And it was interesting because today I went to confession at church, and I was saying to my priest that I really felt like I am in this period of disbelief, like disbelief that God has a plan for me, and disbelief that God wants to heal me. And it was interesting because he humbled me by saying, you know, instead of asking for healing, why don't you ask for hope? And I was like, huh. And it's true, like, because a heart without hope is very, very sad. So like, even when you feel like things just aren't going your way, never lose hope. Don't let yourself fall into a place of hopelessness. Remain in that hope, and that's going to take you much further than anywhere else. So, you know, please try to be a hopeful narrator. I will as well. And, you know, just know that you have purpose and you have reason for being here now. And, you know, that is amazing. You have inherent value and inherent worth, and God wants you to have a fulfilling life today. So don't feel like you're waiting, like don't wait for your purpose, like just grab it today, because we all have a purpose, we all have a mission, we all have something to give, and God is inviting us to give that today. So lean into it, and I hope some of these suggestions have been helpful. All right, I'll speak to you soon. Have a good day. Bye.